Yes, that's Mr. Laurel over there. Oliver was always happy and always singing as a, what'd you say?
I said she's still beautiful.
Isn't she there? And he was always happy and singing as a boy there in Milledgeville, wasn't he, Miss Horn?
Always loved to sing, but he didn't like his singing lessons.
Oh, yeah.
His mother met his teacher one day and asked how his lessons were coming along. Mm-hmm. And she said he hadn't been in over a week.
Well, what else do you remember of his boyhood, Althea?
I remember him as a very brave boy. In fact, he went into the Oconee River to save his brother Sam from drowning. And he pulled him out, and he and Arthur Skinner gave artificial respiration. But it was too late. He'd been in the water too long.
That's a pretty heroic thing for him to have done. Thinking of others before yourself is a habit you formed in earliest boyhood. Oliver Hardy. Thank you, Mrs. Althea Horn. You're going to see him a little later. Now, down, boys. We return to your lives. Stan Laurel. Your father encourages you, gets you an engagement with Levy and Cardwell's juvenile pantomimes. You're just 17. 1910, you tour America and here decide to remain to play in your own acts in American vaudeville.
One of Stan's acts was being a funny burglar. He got such howls of laughter, he was signed up for his first comedy movies.
Now, do you recognize that voice, Mr. Laurel? You may not. He was technical advisor on one of your early movie comedies in 1922. He's now president of Pan American Television Corporation. Here's your good friend, Mr. Frank Faust. Frank Faust. Look, Frank, you remember a time when Stan ran for his life in order to get a laugh in a movie, don't you, Mr. Faust?
Well, Stan had the courage to take the personal risks of it. Involved a good comedy scene, but he encountered a bull one time without any sense of humor.
A bull? Yeah.
We were making a comedy takeoff on Rudolph Valentino's Blood and Sand, and in the scene, Stan was supposed to let this bull chase him down the street.
What was his name in the
Rhubarb Vaseline.
Oh, yeah.
And as it turned out, by the time the camera started grinding, the bull caught up to Stan and almost killed him. After the real scare was over, we gave him another fright just as a joke.
How was that, Mr. Faust?
Well, we told him that the camera didn't get the picture and that the scene would have to be shot over again.
Thank you, Frank Faust. Thank you very much. Thank you, Frank. Now, in a moment, we'll find out what you were doing at this same period of time, Oliver Hardy, and we'll learn that you two might never have gotten together at all if it hadn't been for a leg of lamb. You know, Oliver Hardy just said the most wonderful thing. He says, the funny thing, I never miss your show here. And to think, he says, it sort of fills you up. You bet it does. Back to These Are Your Lives. Stan Laurel and Oliver Hardy. During your teenage years, you sing to illustrated slides in movie theaters. Oliver, this leads to forming a quartet with three other round and hefty fellas. What name did you call your quartet?
The 20th Century Four.
Yes. And 20th Century, was that the poundage or the... no, oh, I see, the 20...
combination.
Yes. Did you have another name like Half Ton of Harmony or something? Was it
Yes.
called that? 1913 finds you in Jacksonville, Florida.
Here his friends called him Babe because he never smoked, drank, nor said bad words.
Oh, me. Well, do you recognize that voice, Babe?
No,
She used to be a vocalist, too. Used to sing duets with you at the old Burbridge Hotel in Jacksonville. Hear from her home in Cincinnati, Ohio, is your friend of long ago, Margaret O'Connor, now Mrs. James Arata. Here she is over here. That's Mr. Laurel, Mr. Arata. Well, now, Margaret, Mr. Hardy made his first movies right there. How's the family? They're swell, huh? Yeah. She tell me how many? 7?
8 grandchildren.
8 grandchildren. I wonder. Mr. Hardy made his first movies right there in Jacksonville, Florida, didn't he, Mr. Arata?
Yes, and they were so new then, Mr. Edwards, that Babe was called upon to do an intoxicated scene and a street scene.
Mm-hmm.
and a couple of his Mason friends from the Masonic Lodge saw him reeling down the street. Of course, they didn't know it was a movie. The next day, they had poor Babe up on the carpet, and he had an awful lot of explaining to do.
Well, thank you, Miss James Arata of Cincinnati, Ohio.
Everybody loved him.
I know they did. You betcha. She said everybody loved you there. Well, by the mid-1920s, both of you are in Hollywood. Your paths destined soon to cross at the Hal Roach studio.
As Oliver Norval Hardy tells it, a leg of lamb brought them together.
I don't know if you recognize that voice, Mr. Laurel or Mr. Hardy. You should. At the time, he was production supervisor at the Hal Roach Studios, and later he worked on your pictures, now known the world over as the famous writer-director of Going My Way, Bells of St. Mary's, My Son John, many, many more great hits, your good friend, director Leo McCarey. Here's Leo. Look, Leo, how did a leg of lamb... sit down, Oliver, and we're going to get that a boy. How did a leg of lamb bring Laurel and Hardy together, eh?
Well, it seems that Babe was cooking a leg of lamb, and for some reason he left his arm in the oven too long or something. And he got it so badly blistered that we had to cut down his part in the next picture, so we decided to put Stan in the picture, too, to bolster up the comedy.
Yeah.
And so when we saw the two of them on the screen together, we decided there's a real team.
You bet.
And from that time on,
they
really went places, all on account of Hardy had a little lamb.
Oh, and that was the beginning of these famous hats. Leo, you know how to work these better than I. Give them to the boys.
Sure.
Oliver, stand up, please, and just put it up. Stand up, Mr. Hardy. Yeah, did he get the right ones? I'm not sure.
No,
oh, no, is that the right? No, no, that's it. No, I think they're the. Oh my! Look, in your pictures, babe, Stan always gets you in trouble, isn't that right, Mr. Hardy? Now, is there any parallel in real life, Leo?
Well, yes, I remember once when Oliver got in trouble without any help from Stan.
Yeah. Oh, how's that?
Well, we were shooting a picture up on the two of them were building a skyscraper.
Mm-hmm. Scaffold.
And they were up about 40 feet from the ground, and Stan was looked down, standing up with his girder, and he got quite panicky, and Babe tried to quiet him, and he said, look, you don't have to worry, there's a safety platform about 15 feet under the scaffolding. And Stan looked down, and he said, well, even the safety platform doesn't look safe to me. Babe tried to quiet him. He says, look, to show you that it's perfectly all right. He said, I'll show you. And he jumped off. Well, it wasn't safe. And the platform slowed him down a little, but he fell 20 and then 20 more feet to the ground.
Oh, boy. Well, I know that those boys showed a great deal of courage, though, to do some of the stunts they used to do.
Well, you know, as a matter of fact, I felt that Babe seemed to show more courage than Stan, but he got hurt more often.
Thank you, Leo McCarey.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Well, from 1927 on, the world takes Laurel and Hardy to its heart. In picture after picture, you throw the spotlight of high comedy upon human existence. The whole world laughs with delight to see the two of you struggle with a heavy piano. Now, maybe you can see it there in the film. It's always Laurel who gets Hardy into trouble, as we'll see right now. See? It's shown in this case from one of your early films. Oh, who was that? Oh, I thought that was Bob Warner. No. Whoops, there you are. Films that are still the delight of all of us, now on television. Well, even more, to your credit, you're just as much loved behind the scenes by all your associates.
I can truthfully say that it was as much fun to work on a Laurel Hardy picture as it was to see one.
Now, another important voice from your past. Do you recognize it, boys? There's so many fellas in your past we could parade all of Hollywood and all the world by here. He was general manager of the Hal Roach studio when you both came there and during the early years of your great success. Here from his home in Santa Maria, California, your friend, Mr. Warren Doan. Here's Warren. Mr. Doan, can you tell us whether or not Stan and Babe were as funny fellas off camera as they were on?
Yes, they were, and that's why they were so well liked by all their crews.
Yeah.
Once we were hard at work making in a very dangerous situation. They were making a scene with a lion, and the trainer told them that when a lion is about to give trouble, the color of his eyes will change from yellow to green. One of the boys asked him, by the way, why is your leg bandaged up? The trainer had to admit that the same lion a couple of days before had chewed it up. We all admired them because they went ahead